And I'm very much looking forward to getting back into doing this over the next few months as well. But this is a fun one to start with. As I said, what I plan to focus on is this weekend with the celebrations of Imbolc, Candlemas, and St. Bridget. But I am focusing on it in a playful way. One of the things that I've realized this weekend is that my posts from the last couple of weeks have been very heavy. And of course, I've been sharing some things with you that are part of the heaviness of my life at the moment. But I didn't want you to think that everything was heavy. And part of what I've realized, and this was something that I very much got into when I wrote my book, The Gift of Wonder, is that play has got to be an essential part of everything that we do as well. This is not just about having a life of seriousness, a life in which we're always working, a life in which we're always stretched beyond our stress limits and things like this. It's interesting to me because more and more research is showing that playful pauses through the day ease our stress, increase our creativity, and make us much more productive. And a number of organizations are actually encouraging their employees to take playful breaks through the day to make this possible. And I am fortunate because I live at home and work at home that I can take playful breaks whenever I want to. I have got some notes here, so I want to make sure that I get in everything that I have. Now, for those of you that don't know the celebrations of this weekend, Imbolc, which is a pagan ceremony, and people probably go, is celebrated on the 1st of February and in the Celtic tradition, and it is believed to go back to Neolithic Ireland and Scotland. And it marks the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox in the Northern Hemisphere, obviously. I'd love to see what my Southern Hemisphere friends suggest as a way to really expand the possibilities for the celebration of this season. But it is the tradition that gave rise to Groundhog Day in the United States. And it is also the tradition that gave rise to the Christian practice of Candlemas. And I am always delighted when Christianity takes the pagan festivals and makes them converts them into Christian kind of ceremonies. And that's basically what they did. And so Candlemas is the end of the Christmas and Epiphany season. It's the time when some people take down their Christmas trees, though many of us have already done that. I like to do it on January the 6th because we put ours up at the beginning of Advent, as many people do here in the United States. But it commemorates the presentation of Jesus at the temple based on the account in Luke 2:22-40, and also the purification of Jesus' mother, Mary, and the Feast of the Holy Encounter. Well worth reading about. And on Candlemas, many Christians, especially Eastern Orthodox, Roman Catholic, Lutherans, Anglican, and Methodists, in other words, the more liturgical kind of traditions, bring candles to their local churches where they are blessed to be used for the rest of the year. And of course, once upon a time when people only had candles as light, you can imagine how important this was. And I know that today some people actually bring light bulbs to be blessed at this season. But one of the things that a lot of people do is that they bring beeswax candles that can be blessed specifically for them to use in times of prayer, and evidently also from as protection from storms in the coming year. And I thought, wow, we certainly need protection from storms these days, not just physical storms, but spiritual and emotional storms as well. So what a wonderful time to bless the candles. And if this isn't a tradition in your church, try and think of some creative way these may be blessed. Maybe talk to your pastor and see if they would consider doing this kind of a blessing. Or if they don't want to do the blessing at church, maybe you can invite somebody who is ordained or just somebody who is a spiritual guide to you to bless candles that you might use during times of prayer over the next year. So Imbolc and Candlemas, February 2nd, are both celebrations of light and the first spark of spring. And often for Imbolc, bonfires were often lit and they were combined with the Feast of St. Bridget. So St. Bridget's feast starting on the eve of February 1st and going through February 2nd. So, intertwining these together and thinking of distinctive ways to celebrate them that is a part of your tradition is something that is a good thing to do. Now, many of you know from last year that we love creating Celtic crosses St. Bridget's crosses on this day or around this season. And we will be doing this again on Monday at our community meeting. This is the one that I made last year. And actually what I've decided is I'm going to take down the ones that I made last year and keep them for Ash Wednesday because I don't go to a church now where I can get crosses from the last Good Friday procession. I am going to use my St. Bridget's crosses to burn on Ash Wednesday. I know some of you who are very traditional kind of people will cringe a bit, but as you know, I love to do things a little bit out of the box and kind of bring in different things from different traditions and from the world as well to celebrate these seasons. So that's what I plan to do, and we will make new crosses. And I loved these crosses that I made with the wheat. So even though traditionally St. Bridget's crosses are made using reeds and rushes, I am again going to use these corn fibers because I really think that they make beautiful crosses, and I just love having this one on my wall throughout the year. So think about what you might like to do as a celebration for this season. Maybe you, like me, would like to make Celtic crosses. I don't know why they are Celtic, but specifically St. Bridget's crosses. And, you may not have any wheat, you may not have any rushes, but you can make them out of all kinds of things. And you might like to look at some of the, post on Substack that I did last year, in which I included a video that I'd done a couple of years before that of the different kinds of things that we have used for making St. Bridget's crosses. So things that are around your house, things that are out in the garden, there are all kinds of things that you can use at this time that I think you'll find very fun. Other playful things. Make a bonfire out of candles that you've used during the last year. I don't know about you, but I have got lots of those around. Candles that I'm not sure what to do with. And I'm going to set them up next Monday for our community meeting in the fireplace or by the fireplace. We'll light them and have them burning as we make the St. Bridget's crosses. And then I'm going to give each person a candle, a fresh candle to take into the year that they can use during their prayer time. You might like to participate in a Candlemas procession. Find a church that does this in your area. Or you might like to design your own Candlemas procession, maybe just walking around your house with candles or lanterns or something like that. Or you might like to make Scottish bannock, which is a tradition that has been taken up, I know, in Canada, and I have a suspicion gave rise to a certain extent to the Australian damper as well. So this is an unleavened bread that you can make in your frying pan, or you can make it, or skillet, depending on what you want to call it. You can make it in the oven. You can make it in all kinds of different ways. Very simple kind of bread, unleavened bread. So basically flour, some kind of shortening, and a bit of a salt. Very simple and actually quite fun as long as you eat it fairly quickly. I am hoping this year, in fact, they probably should arrive today, and I'll put up a photo of them tomorrow, to get some little Celtic, St. Bridget cross molds for making cookies with. So that's going to be the fun thing that I plan to do tomorrow to celebrate this season. And the last thing, and of course, this needs a bit of planning, so you may not want to do it for this year, but maybe for next year, but to hold a ceilidh, or a gathering of song and music and just fun celebration. So lots of things. In fact, I'd love it if you would share with me what you might do this weekend in a playful way to celebrate this season. And as I said, you can use some of what you do as a preparation for Lent as well. I talked about this being a time of that I was going to talk about Lent this morning. Well, because I've had so much to talk about, there hasn't been quite as much about Lent here, but it has definitely stirred my sense of creativity to think about what I want to do for Lent. And as far as I've gone at this stage is that I have gathered some extremely prickly cacti here. That's one of the reasons that they are in cups, so that I don't have to touch them, because each of these cacti have definitely made me bleed at different times. And so I've been thinking about that, the prickliness of the cacti, the prickliness of Lent, the prickliness of the season in which we live, and how at times these things make us bleed. And I have a suspicion that that is going to be the basis for my Lenten practices in a few weeks, because Lent begins February 18th. So I hope that you too are thinking about it, not just about the serious, reflective things you want to do, but about the playful things that you want to do that will help balance you out during this time, so that you get the most out of Lent and it spurs your creativity for the season ahead as well. So thank you for joining me in this. I do want to end with a little prayer, blessing, ditty, I don't know what you call it, that I wrote this morning as I was getting ready for this. Blessed are the lights that shine in the darkness. Blessed are the lights that help us to see. Blessed are the lights that give sight in the shadow. Blessed are the lights on the hilltops they should be. Blessed is the light of Christ in our lives, light of the world, shine bright for all to see. Amen, and have a blessed day, or if you're going into evening, have a blessed night and a blessed rest of the weekend and a blessed February. Amen.